networks don't plan your schedule exactly yet. We think sports are going to start high school-wise around the state on the 22nd of February. Cross country, maybe football, maybe not football. How far are they going to push it back? How many games? But we're working on a schedule, and I don't think it's fair to think that, well, 2 days ago, okay, you're back, and all of a sudden you're going to have a schedule. Were there contingencies? Yeah. And I think you'll get something, and it'll work itself out. But I know there's a lot of anxious high school student athletes around the state, coaches, parents as well. What's up? And Mary, what day is it? Thursday? It's game day, JJ. Game day for JJ Buck, for the Lady Lobos, for the men. And it's also Thursday as far as you and I might be concerned. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. Micah produces on the radio side. It's Josh and Jay Pohl on the television side. You can watch the show on ProViewNetworks.com, our Facebook page, the OD and the AM. What's good?
What it do?
You ready for your big game today? It feels like it's been a long time since you called a game, Lady Lobos, because San Jose State women's program had shut down for the season. So last week there was nobody for New Mexico to play, so they took the week off. Back at it today against a really good Fresno State team over in Canyon, Texas, here on the Sports Animal. 6 o'clock, correct? Tonight?
6 o'clock, 5:30 pregame.
All right, I know there's been some confusion on time, so let me set some stuff for you for your listening, because I was listening over on KKOB today, and Bob was telling you 8:30 pregame, and the news guy was telling you 9. Men's game starts at 9 o'clock tonight in Fresno State. 8:30 pregame, 9 o'clock tip-off. You can listen to that game over on News Radio KKOB. The ladies here on The Sports Animal. JJ Buck will have the action from Canyon, Texas. 5:30 is when they will tip 6 o'clock. And they're playing a pretty good team tonight, JJ.
Yeah, this is the first step to find out just how good is UNM women's basketball. And Fresno State on the men's side as well presents some challenges, but on the women's side, you're talking about the defending regular season champs. Just swept Boise State the last 2 games, the team that beat them by 4 in the Mountain West title game last year. The core of the team is just better because you're talking about the Cavendish sisters, who are now sophomores. Maddie UT, who is now a senior, and she was the Mountain West Player of the Year last year. So the schedule has progressed for the women. Mike Bradbury's talked about it. He built the non-conference schedule for a reason. It was a little bit of a step up because they only could play 3 games. And they were kind of dealt the same hand when Mountain West play started. They went with Nevada, had the Utah State series canceled because of positive tests on their end, so they didn't practice for 2 weeks, but then they got back to UNLV, which was a step up. And the difference for UNM being off the last 2 weeks is at least they practiced this time. It wasn't a pause on their end. So they're on the basketball court doing some work, and now it's, all right, you take a shot at the contender and see where you stand as the basketball team right now. Yeah,
we'll get a really good feel on the ladies tonight. Men, meanwhile, I think you got a pretty good feel. And hopefully you're looking for it to get better. You're playing a team that's now won 3 games in conference, but poses a big issue with Orlando Robinson, a 7-footer. And they're I haven't watched a ton of them. I watched whoever they played the other day. Robinson is nice, and boy, he gets up and down the floor. Paul Weir said he's got some of those unteachables as far as some of his footwork and his coordination for a big guy and the way he moves. But they look like a typical Fresno State team to me. We're really athletic, want to get up and down, maybe a little sloppy at times. Guys that, if they get hot, and it's like anybody else, but it feels like they've got guys who can shoot, are going to hurt you. And obviously, really, Jeff, if you make shots, you're going to win the game. Yeah, no, I get it. But they looked like just a typical, not a great Fresno State team, but a typical athletic up and down, with this time with a really mobile, good big.
Yeah, Robinson definitely has next level potential. He's an all-conference player, and he's going to be the focal point of the Lobos trying to stop him inside. It's the way he's developed his game. What you pointed out is he's a big that's developed, and that's a challenge with a lot of these guys, and you're seeing it firsthand with the Lobos. Is you have the athleticism, but you don't have that refined skill set yet. And Robinson is at that point. As you saw him over the last couple of years, like, wow, this dude is pretty good. And all of a sudden, he's really putting it together. He can stretch the floor. He beats you in multiple areas. And then a backcourt that has guys that have shown the ability to go off more so than we've seen from the Lobos. So it's a tough test. And where we're at with Lobo basketball right now on the men's side is good job, good effort. Are you going to be able to show up, grind, give yourself a chance? And you're just so unsure because of how poor the offense has been at times. And we've seen that really, let them down in these instances where they go into a drought and team runs away from them.
Yeah, this is interesting, and I don't know if I have access to the record book. I'm sure I do somewhere. This would take some digging. Lobos have played 10 conference games. They're 1-9, as you know, and they have not played a conference game that ended with the score difference being single digits. Their win was by double digits. They lost the next game by double. So they have not played a conference game. I think it's closer than 12. I don't know if that's ever happened in the history of Lobo basketball where they've gone 10 games deep into a conference schedule. Maybe it has. Maybe it happens 15 times for all I know. It just feels like an anomaly to me, doesn't it, to you, that at some point you'd be in a close game, especially when you're playing the same team twice and you beat them. You beat them by 12, they beat you by 12, or whatever the number was. It's insanity to me. At some point, I believe, when you start looking at what the schedule is going to offer them, whether it's going to be Air Force, whether it's going to be Wyoming, whether it's going to be Fresno State, you got to believe somewhere there's going to be a close game. And I'm really interested to see how they handle that, because I hearken back to New Mexico State, Cal State Northridge back in December. And the Aggies were in their first close game, and they didn't handle it well, right? They blew a lead, kind of like Philadelphia 76ers against the Lakers last night, although they came back and hit a shot. So I'm interested to see, I'd like to see them get into a close game, because that means they're not getting blown out of the built. And secondly, I want to see how they handle it and where they go. But that might be a few steps in front of us before where we are right now.
Well, they had the second UNLV game.
That's fair. Yeah, you're right.
That was
all right. No. That's totally my mistake. You're right. You're absolutely right. That's totally my mistake. You're absolutely right. Okay, so that whole rant was negated by that. You're right.
It still holds true though, because they haven't been able to come out on top in a moment because they haven't really had those chances. And in that close game, we saw them have so many empty possessions down the stretch. In post game, that was the theme, right? And you were asking the players and Paul about it. Like, is this a moment you have to learn? Like, what's
the no? That's right. I was
going to. Well, it's like you've experienced it, but even so, experiencing it, do you have what it takes? Like, do you have the players to win a close game, hit a tough shot, a guy that can get his own in that moment?
Yeah, I can't believe you're right. That's totally on me, and I'm wrong. But yes, I do remember being in that press conference. I do. That was me. I'm not losing it completely in asking those questions. But yeah, there was one. So we'll see where they go tonight. Interesting last night in the league. Boise State suffered their second league loss. Their first league loss. They're 9-1. And not only did they lose, they got run out of Moby last night, 78-56. Colorado State put the whooping on them. Roddy went for 27 and 15. Colorado State's legit. I don't know that they're going 15, deep into the tournament. I don't know that they're winning this league, but I don't know that they're not. And what Nico Medved's put together is a tough team. He's got a sensational, versatile big who went for 27 and 15 last night, turned the ball over 3 times. And for Colorado State, they shot the ball at almost a 56% clip and really turned Boise State into a three-point shooting team last night. And Boise State didn't hit their three-point shots, went 5 of 23. They were playing from behind. They were chasing. It was 40-25 at halftime. Look, probably turns into a double-digit game the other way tomorrow night, because that's kind of feels how these things are going. But Colorado State has won on the road at Utah State. They split there and had a chance to sweep, and now gives Boise State their first loss in the league. What Nico's doing up there is a heck of a job.
It's a 3-team race for the Mountain West regular season title. Colorado State has thrown their hat into that battle with what we've seen, and Boise State's good, but this was the tough portion of their schedule. They split with Utah State. Now they're hoping to split with Colorado State, and the Rams have a legit team. The 3 guys out there and you mentioned a couple of them that come at you, and then they kind of piece it together outside of that. And when you saw them last night, it was right. It was they forced Boise State to be a jump shooting team, didn't allow them to get to the rim, because that's when Boise State really does go off. When those athletes are attacking, they're going downhill, and then the rest of the game opens up for them. And Utah State, Colorado State, Boise State, who knows, man? Maybe San Diego State can even go on a run now that these teams are starting to lose some games in the final couple weeks of the season. But
San Diego State's already played Colorado State and Utah State. They end the season with Boise State, but they've already had, they split with Colorado State and got swept by Utah State. Those were their 3 losses. They get Boise State the last series of the season. I still think San Diego State's in it. If after last night, that's a big game in the standings here.
It is, and it's a legitimate race down the stretch, and I'm interested to see too how it plays out just in regards to the Mountain West in postseason. And yeah, these teams beating each other up a little bit is intriguing for the title race, but how does it affect them? And we'll get some more information on that from our friend Jerry Palm.
Yeah, Jerry Palm will be with us at 8:30 today, and we'll talk to him. 8 o'clock this morning, we're going to talk to Jim Gay, who's the regional director of Sports and Wellness. And I just thought, JJ, this was a time, you're hitting the end of January, resolutions, everybody wants to get in shape, but it's not as easy as just, I made a resolution to get in shape. It's really how to go back to the gym. Are you safe going back to the gym? And I just thought it would be a good time to catch up with Jim and talk to him about what they're doing over at the clubs around town, and specifically Sports and Wellness is his club. But what are the protocols? How do you, I think there's people who want to go back to a gym but don't know how. Right? Can I go? Is it safe? Do I have to make an appointment? What are we doing with the equipment? And I just thought it would be good to catch up with Jim Gay, who's such a great community partner anyway, and do that. So we'll do that at 8 o'clock. JJ, you were talking about San Diego State in this thing. They get Wyoming at home, and I know Wyoming just won twice up in Laramie against Nevada, but their next 4, they get 2 with Wyoming at home. They go to Lubbock to play the Lobos twice. They get San Jose State at home twice. And then they go to Fresno State. I mean, I'm not telling you they're going to sweep all 8 games, but they very well may, while everybody else is beating each other up. And then they close with those 2 with Boise State up in Idaho.
If you're looking at...
I'm sorry, in San Diego.
Yeah, if you're looking at a chance to get back into the race, those are very winnable games for the Aztecs to keep pace with the top 3 and legitimately take a step back and say, there's 4 teams that could come out with a Mountain West regular season title. And with how good the top of the conference is, having that advantage of maybe avoiding one of these teams for a round or 2 is definitely going to matter when he gets to Las Vegas.
And Matt Mitchell's back and healthy for them, so we'll see where we go. All right, 2460610 is how to get in today, 888-922-0610. Emails come in, Jeff at 610, knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com. You can find us on the Twitter. It's _JJ Buck. And on the Facebook, the OD and the AM. You can watch the show there as well, courtesy of ProView Networks. When we come back, we'll talk some NFL. Coaching carousel seems to be filled now. The quarterback carousel, however, is just beginning. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
You've seen Rich Eisen on TV.
He's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. 1st and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side. Provides some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown. Webskowski. All day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcat! Not a defender inside. A little bit. Kowski on the sideline! Asta Manana! He's off to the races! Touchdown! Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24, Rancho, late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way. Moreno extra pass, and Watson.
Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand. And
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
boy, Jefferson wide open. Getting
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davino Lovato, and here comes Agbayosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming.
Houston Texans have a head coach. His name is David Culley. Been a coach in the league for 27 seasons, most recently the passing coordinator with the Baltimore Ravens, 65 years old, and will be a first-time head coach, replacing Bill O'Brien and Romeo Crennel. Bill O'Brien got fired, and then Romeo Crennel finished out as the interim. It's the opening drive. Good day to you, Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. Not a name you heard a lot. David Culley. And really more so, I think the story here is who did not get hired. And I don't even think it's more Leslie Frazier, it's Eric Bieniemy. And Eric Bieniemy's name was the name. There were 7 openings. I don't know if it's because he is still coaching and you can't hire a guy until their season's over and they're going to the Super Bowl. Eric Bieniemy's the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs. or supposedly he doesn't interview well, whatever it is. This was a minority hire. And so Baltimore will get compensated with 2 third-round compensatory picks. But I think more so, David Culley does nothing to ring my bell. I don't think yours. I don't know that he does for really Deshaun Watson or anybody else. I'm sure he's a fine coach, and hopefully he'll do a good job. The Bieniemy thing is really, really surprising to me. And I know you said, a couple weeks ago, it doesn't matter. If a team wants him, they're going to wait. I wonder if it does, though.
And I would like to know why it matters so much.
Yeah, that's fair.
What are all these other teams doing right now? Nothing. Like, they're just sitting there going, all right, is this guy going to retire? What do our draft picks look like? It's like he doesn't have to hit the recruiting trail. Doesn't have to sign a recruiting class like this. So it is a very fascinating situation with Eric Bieniemy, because it feels like at some point in time, that's a dude you want to give a shot. Like, you want to get a piece of that Andy Reid offense. Yes, it's not with Patrick Mahomes at the helm, but you're telling me that you wouldn't want to see Deshaun Watson run some of those concepts? Like, just, okay, well, something's got to be going on more so than any of us understand for it to be another hiring cycle, and that guy has not had an opportunity to run a team on his own as of yet. But this hire, Culley, he's an experienced coach, and yeah, it might not be a name that any of us were talking about, but that's usually what happens in a lot of these situations. And you say it all the time, Jeff. Usually the ones that we don't know about end up being pretty good, because guess what? This guy is a good coach. He's been there, done that. And now he has an opportunity to put his own staff together. He's an offensive-minded coach, so that see how that meshes with Deshaun Watson. Bill O'Brien was the same way, but we saw how that not only deteriorated on the field, but everything that happened as Bill O'Brien, the general manager of the Houston Texans. I think a big thing in this process moving forward for Houston is now they have separation. They have a GM and they have a head coach,
which they needed. So as a guy who's got a job where people always say, what do you do all year? I'll push back a little bit when you say they're doing nothing. I'll just a little bit, because I hear, what are you doing all year? You don't do anything all year. You got a lot of teams right now who are really trying to figure out what to do with the quarter. I wonder what the urgency is on the quarterback market. And certainly Houston's in the middle of that, right? Because Deshaun Watson, while we haven't heard Deshaun Watson say, I want out, we've heard everybody else say, Deshaun Watson wants out. So I think there might be a little bit of urgency as far as that carousel starts to move. The report is 1/3 of the teams in the league have called Detroit in regards to Matthew Stafford. The Rams have made it pretty clear that they're not happy with Jared Goff. You've got the Carson Wentz situation. While it sounds like maybe things have calmed down, I don't know that that's solved. So I think once one domino moves, and you got personnel issues all over the place, not just the quarterback issues. So I'll push back a little. While this might not be the busiest time of year, as a guy who hears all the time, what do you do all year?
But the coaches, I do think it's one that if that's the only reason, then so you're hiring coaches from teams that lose? Like, that's what we're doing now? Like, so it just doesn't 100% gel with me. Like, that is the only reason. There's something else there that just hasn't come out yet, which has got to be surprising that Eric Bieniemy's not getting a shot. Do they not believe in him? Are there front offices and people around that are just like, you know what, this is just all Andy Reid, and we don't want to give this guy a shot, even though we see it in so many other areas? It's, I want a piece of this coaching staff. How many Bill Belichick disciples have got an opportunity to be a head coach?
Well, there's Andy Reid guys everywhere.
They usually are playing for a while.
Well, the Andy Reid guys are too. And I believe somewhere down this guy's lineage, there's Andy Reid. I was just looking through the coaching hires. They're not all losers. There's teams, the Chargers hired from the Rams, who were in the playoffs. The Jets hired Robert Saleh. That team did not make the playoffs. Urban Meyer was out of coaching. But Baltimore made the playoffs. That's where David Culley came from. Who did Atlanta hire?
Arthur Smith, playoff coach.
All right. Who else am I looking at for coaching hires? Jacksonville, Houston. Where there were 2 more, right? Weren't there 2 more?
Detroit, Dan Campbell. Saints
playoff coach. Yeah, playoff coach. So, yes, so they're coming from losers.
Yes, that's a bad term. on my part. But I just you got to tell me something else. Like, I got to know more about it than just, oh, they're still playing, so we can't hire him as head coach. So you're telling me that the Los Angeles Chargers and Detroit Lions are going to be so much further ahead because they had 2-3 more weeks?
No, I'm not telling you that. Yeah, I'm curious too. And it could be these guys, maybe they're better head coaching material. I don't know. It very well could be those guys are going to be better head coaches than Eric Bieniemy. I don't know that. I don't know that it's not true. I don't. With all due respect, I don't know how good of a coach Eric Bieniemy is. I know how good Kansas City's offense is. I know how good that is. I know how good his pieces are. I don't know how much is him and how much is the head coach.
Patrick Mahomes too. Like, that's the ultimate.
Right.
That's the best quarterback in the league right now. But I'm just thinking, concept wise, especially if we're just looking at that situation, Deshaun Watson, because it's not much different. Doug Peterson, Frank Reich. They won Super Bowl. Frank Reich gets an opportunity, works with, I don't know, who did Indianapolis have at that time at quarterback?
They had Jacoby Brissett.
And so it's one that he could be a terrible interview, and you could be like, I just don't think this guy's going to be head coach material. But usually you get a chance to see that play out and then realize, maybe he is just better suited to be a coordinator.
Well, the guy they brought in just worked with Lamar Jackson, right? Passing game coordinator. I mean, you watched how much better over the last 2 years Lamar Jackson got throwing the football. Does he I'm with you. I'm curious. I want to know why. Does he not interview well? Does he not? Does his reference not check out well? I mean, publicly, everybody really raves about Eric Bieniemy. But what is it about? It's 100% possible. You sit down and say, man, I'm more impressed with David Culley. And that's the guy I want. Or if it's simply, well, I can't wait another 2 weeks. Okay, but why? I get you on that point too. All right, we're going to go to the phones when we get back. 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Jim Gay, the regional director of sports and wellness, the clubs around town, going to be with us at 8 o'clock. Can talk about getting you back in the gym and how and safely and all that stuff. Jerry Palm at 8:30 on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off Romero. A 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good...
Here's Ramos. Step back. High arcing. 20!
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer. Up top! Yes, and a finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak. Ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
So as the coaching carousel seems to come into a slow or a stop, quarterback carousel may be just getting ready to start in the NFL. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, Josh, J. Paul. It's 505-246-0610. Tommy, thanks for holding through that break. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day, Tommy.
What's up, guy? Happy Thursday. Tommy the Truth back at you guys. And it's always a good Thursday when you guys are on the radio, or any day for that matter.
Thank you.
As far as this particular coach Houston, he does have familiarity. He coached Watson at the Pro Bowl, and reportedly they got along pretty well. So there is some familiarity there, even though I think Bieniemy should have been hired first. I looked back on his history. I don't believe he got in trouble as a player. I know he played in Colorado, played running back there for the Buffaloes. I'm trying to look at his past to see if there's been any indiscrepancies, and I don't see anything. Or maybe it's just because they're giving Andy Reid all the credit and not giving him any. And on a lighter note, it's J.J. Buck and Mark Siembieda, correct?
Jeff
Siembieda and J.J. Buck, right?
Yep, that's correct.
You guys, I'm going to give you a compliment for both of you. You have magnificent porn names. J.J. Buck, Mark Siembieda, and the sports animal.
That's a hell of a compliment.
Porn names, guys. I know if you've been told that before, but they're magnificent.
No, it's the first time. That's the first time. Tommy the Truth would be a good one, too. And Tommy the Truth.
Tommy will lay out the truth.
See you, Tommy.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
See you. Maybe Mark would be a better name for that. I don't know. Yes. B Sports Animals changing its rating, and we're changing our format.
And I don't know. Introduce you to Mark.
Yeah, I am Mark. Marky Mark. I don't know what the deal is on Bieniemy, and I'm interested. And I think after the Super Bowl, we'll probably learn more. Let me just tell you something. There's nothing wrong with being a really good coordinator. Nothing. In fact, there's a lot right about it. And guys make a lot of money and have great careers being really good coordinators. Now, typically, and it's not over yet. I mean, I firmly believe at some point, and I think you do as well, that Eric Bieniemy is going to get a head coaching job. Apparently, it's not going to be this time around. And he might be good and he might not. I mean, we watched Norv Turner get jobs over and over, and I know invariably this is going to get into the race conversation, and maybe there's something to it. I'm sure there's other coordinators who have not gotten opportunity right away. I believe he will. But it's very, very possible that, JJ, you got people sitting in the interview room and saying, man, we could have that guy now. That might be what's putting it over the top. Man, Bieniemy's good. David Culley's really good too. David Culley worked with. We got to get this Deshaun thing figured out. We don't have 2 more weeks to figure out the Deshaun thing. We got to get moving, and that might be what put it over the top. The fact that I can have him now and I can't have him the other guy until 2 weeks from now.
You have to take that into account when you look at especially this hiring cycle and what we've seen. And we keep speaking about Andy Reid. Well, David Culley is someone that's worked with Andy Reid in Philadelphia. He's been an assistant, and it'll be interesting because he's never been a coordinator at his stops, like a outright OC or anything along those lines. But sometimes that can work, and we've seen Jim Harbaugh was just a special teams coordinator because it is different when you're a head coach. You need management skills. We talk so much about clock management, ability to hand things over to someone else. So while he has an offensive background, it'll be interesting to see with all his years of experience just how he's able to handle being the head coach and everything that goes with it. And there's so many things that are just deeper when it comes to front office and head coaches that you're just not going to know about, as we've discussed. And if it is simply you want someone now, okay. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me because it seemed like if I recall, there's been a bunch of Patriots head coaches that have been hired, and they've at least usually been going to the AFC Championship game and Super Bowl over all these years. But there's something else that we just haven't figured out yet.
Well, or maybe Chad Wheeler. Just looking at the Chad Wheeler story. David Culley interviewed better and impressed them more, and that's the guy they wanted. And I'd like to believe that. I'd like to believe that straight up, David Culley's the guy we wanted. He was impressive. His resume, his references, that's our guy. He works better with what we're trying to do there, and that's just as possible as any of it. And I'd like to believe that's where it is. David Culley's our guy. That's the guy we wanted. Okay. I mean, who am I to sit here and tell you no? I don't know enough about David Culley at all. Another Andy Reid guy as well. And I did say that coming off of last weekend. Coordinators and all this stuff, and I don't know how David Culley manages a game any more than I know how Eric Bieniemy would manage a game. But we have this conversation about these young, great minds, and Matt LaFleur was a great offensive mind, and look what he did, and I don't think anybody feels he managed that game well last week in the NFC Championship game for Green Bay, right? How are some of these young guns going to perform under pressure? Now, you don't have to be an old guy to do it. I don't think Vic Fangio handles it all that well either, and he's not a young guy. There's no easy answer. There's no cookie cutter. Well, he's got experience, so he'll handle the game situations better. Sean McVay seems to handle that pretty well, right? So there's just as much as it's 2 weeks possibility that was the reason. It's just as possible that all these teams said, you know what, the guy we got, we like him better than we like Eric Bieniemy. And I wonder how much credit Andy Reid gets. You know, with everything that's going on over there. As great as that offense is, and Eric Bieniemy is the offensive coordinator, so he has to get credit for it. But I wonder if he's getting docked because, A, Andy Reid is there getting a lot of the credit, and B, dude, you and I could draw plays in the sand for those guys with Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and Tyreek Hill and everybody else and that wealth of running backs. So I wonder if he's getting docked for being able to do it with the talent he's got there.
It's a good road to go down because I brought up the Patriots a couple times, and look how that's worked out when you get outside of New England with Tom Brady. It didn't work out for Josh McDaniels. Matt Patricia didn't work out.
It's worked for
Vrabel.
Vrabel.
Do you want to go back to?
Vrabel's the one that's worked.
Yeah. Mike Vrabel has been the best one so far. It's why am I forgetting?
And Flores, Brian Flores is working.
Brian Flores is so it's two, and then there was Charlie Weiss, Romeo Crennel's a good coordinator, man. That's like he is built to be a coordinator. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. And then the guy who went to the Jets, why am I forgetting his name?
The last one, Gase?
No, it was a while back.
Todd Bowles was. After Rex Ryan, who's before Todd Bowles?
And he was from the Patriots. I can't remember his name, but that one was a swing and a miss.
That was pretty memorable as well. So look, that's where it is. All right, so we can get in on that at 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Your emails are coming in, Jeff at 610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com. And when we come back, we're going to stay in the NFL. It was after Rex Ryan, it was Todd Bowles. You're thinking of Eric Mangini before that?
Eric Mangini, yes.
That was before Rex Ryan. That was after Herm Edwards. So it was Belichick.
Further back. Okay.
Well, Belichick was there. It was Parcells and Al Groh, Herm Edwards, Eric Mangini, then Rex Ryan, Todd Bowles, Adam Gase, Robert Saleh. Yeah. All right. I got a text yesterday. Is Chad Wheeler banned? Is he done? Who is Chad Wheeler? You're going to know that name like you know Ray Rice's name, like you know a bunch of these names for the wrong reason. Is he banned? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Staples has
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on aim. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Getting stripped. Daniel stripped him. Compiling the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it. What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch. Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
3rd and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle's got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portel.
Davison in a play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davison back to toss, and he's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
We told you he
touchdown.
could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win at his back, but
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Sometimes you learn a guy's names or ladies' names or people's names in the worst of circumstances. I did not know the name Chad Wheeler. Did you know the name Chad Wheeler? Did you know who he was before yesterday?
I did not.
All right. Chad Wheeler is no longer a player with the Seattle Seahawks, an offensive tackle. Chad Wheeler was released yesterday. I got a text from a good buddy of mine. Is Chad Wheeler going to get banned from the league? I don't know. There's policy on domestic violence now, but what you're going to hear, if you haven't already heard it, is going to be disturbing to you. I hope it's going to be disturbing to you. It's disturbing to me. It's the opening drive, Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. JJ, a police report was filed. There was a call up in the Seattle area in Kent, Washington. A woman was locked in a bathroom. There was a physical fight between her and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend is Chad Wheeler. According to the Seattle Times, the woman called 911. She stated that she was being killed. I'm being killed. I'm in the bathroom. I'm locked in the bathroom. I'm being killed. The police were told that she had suffered a dislocated arm. She was bleeding. Officers could hear the alleged victim, the lady, screaming from inside the apartment when they got to the residence. So this is how the Seattle Times reported it, according to the police report. It says, quote, the report said the incident began when Wheeler asked the victim to bow to him. When she did not, he grabbed her and threw her on the bed. The report said Wheeler then strangled the victim before she lost consciousness. The report also said when she regained consciousness, Wheeler was standing near the bed and said, quote, wow, you're alive, end quote. We don't have video of this, right? So this isn't going to be as impactful as Ray Rice, as Kareem Hunt. What was the guy, the 49ers, the one that was super graphic, that kicked her, that dragged her around, that pulled her hair. He ended up with the Cowboys.
Greg Hardy.
Yeah. Look, there's a policy for this now. I don't know if Wheeler's going to get banned. The Seahawks, his contract was set to expire. They made it known yesterday that they released him, and they hope he gets help. And I'll read you his statement. And his statement is basically not fighting this, not saying I didn't do it. All right, but I think he goes into whatever their protocol is.
How about let's just stop here?
Yeah.
And this is attempted murder.
Yeah. Yep.
Like we gloss over way too many things in sports because a lot of times we can't handle it. And if you're really good at something, we'll give you chance after chance after chance.
Yeah.
Reading this story is horrifying. And it's one that I just don't want to say, oh, the NFL has a policy for this. Let's put him in
That's fair.
domestic violence. Because it's sad that domestic violence has become like DWI. It's just another thing. Oh, guy had a problem. He'll get through it. He'll get his second chance. Read this story, and the last thing you want to say is, oh, we'll see if he's back in the league. No, this guy should be in jail. He tried to murder somebody.
There's no doubt he should be in jail. I'm not a DA. I don't know where the line crosses from a beating to attempted murder.
Where it's legal. But when you read that story, assaulted her until she became unconscious, was surprised she was still alive. Like, so there was something wrong going through this guy's mind. And coming off of yesterday, when we're sitting there talking about steroids and, oh, who's going to be the morality police, this or that about the Hall of Fame, there are some things that we just got to stop glossing over. And yes, it's sport, you're talented, but some things you should lose your right to participate in sport if you do something along these lines.
Look, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The domestic violence, the abuse of women and children by athletes, by men, by people, period, is gotten to a point where you're right. We become sickeningly numb to it, and so we accept it. Oh, here's another one. No, you're right. And you read this, and this woman had to be terrified. This woman what did she do? She didn't bow to this guy? Now, look, when I hear that, my mind goes a lot of places, and I assume a lot of things that maybe it's not fair to assume. You asked her to bow to you? Like, really, dude? Where are we tripping here? Like what's going on? But that's a whole nother issue. The fact that he beat this woman to within an inch of her life, strangled her, beat her, broke her arm, and this woman was cowering in a bathroom, and then he picked the lock and went in and strangled her. Yeah, you're right. I don't give a damn about football. Now, I don't think he'll play football again because I don't think he's that damn good. Okay, he's not Kareem Hunt. I mean, did you watch the Kareem Hunt video? I watched Kareem Hunt play.
You're right. It's the battle we have. Guess who's going to be talked about the next week and who everyone's going to love? Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
Look at what he's done in his past. Punched a pregnant woman in the stomach.
In the stomach. Yep. But look at Tyreek Hill, how great he is. I want him on my fantasy team. Yeah. No, that's right. A disgusting, vile act. I stopped short of calling him a disgusting, vile human because I think good people do bad things. It's hard for me to understand how you can call me a good person after doing that, but okay. I don't know Tyreek Hill. Afterwards, Wheeler apologized. He went to social media, quote, "Events happened over the weekend that transpired from a manic episode. I am deeply sorry for the pain and suffering I have caused to Aaliyah and her family. I apologize profusely for the turmoil that I have caused to my family, teammates, fans, and those closest to me. The most important thing right now is that Aaliyah gets the care she needs and I get help. Both are happening. It is time for me to walk away from football, really, and get the help I need to never again pose a threat to another. I cannot express my sorrow or remorse enough. I am truly ashamed," end quote. Okay, so I hope that's right. Like, what's the first step? Acknowledging it, right? And that's something that you never really, Ray Rice did. But you never really heard that from Kareem Hunt, from Greg Hardy, from Tyreek Hill. I don't believe. JJ, I agree with you. This isn't about football. Who gives a damn? Who gives a damn about football? First of all, that man does need to be charged, right? He does need to be prosecuted. If everything I read in that story is right, that man needs to do a sentence, does he not?
Yeah, it's horrific. Like reading that story, and that's one where you're just like, Seattle. That's immediately like you can't just we're aware of the incident and gathering.
No, they cut him.
Yeah, but it's.
Is it on Seattle? I mean, like what?
No, it's just one you don't want to even like delay. Like you're just.
And they didn't. Yeah, they didn't. They did. I mean, it feels like they handled it well. It's hard for me to put it on the club. You don't know what everybody who's employed by your organization is doing, and once you find out, it feels like they acted correctly. I mean, are you unhappy with the way that the team handled it?
No, it's just they do have a history of being a second chance organization, and this is kind of what can happen.
Well, I think that's the we sit here and say people should get a second chance, but there's a risk that goes with giving a second chance. All right, when we come back, it's your chance to get in the gym. You've got resolutions. You're thinking about getting back to the gym. We're going to catch up with a guy who's great in this community. Jim Gay is the regional director for sports and wellness. And what are they doing at the gyms? What are they doing at their clubs to make it safe for you? How to get back to the gym? And it's taking away an excuse for you to get out of your New Year's resolution. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Ericsson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay.
I got you.
Measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
Run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
Throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy Gaye. Chavez dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho. Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and.
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And off. Great hit. He bounces off. Outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
get a little closer. Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass. Here's what he'll just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much.
Heavyweight tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this, stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Couldn't have said that any better. He answered the question.
On
Got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
All right, now we're here to help you. Now we are here to help you. End of January, your resolutions. I'm going to get in shape. I'm not going to allow you to back off of it, JJ. It's so, oh, yeah, well, it's cold out. I don't want to go to the gym. I'm tired. And this year you've got this, well, it's not safe to go to the gym. COVID kind of stuff. Not so fast, my friend. It's the opening drive at 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. We'll get back to your calls in a little bit. How to do this safely? Have you been going to the gym?
No.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, but we're going to get you back in because Jim Gay is going to join us. He's the regional director for the sports and wellness clubs around our town and around this region, and he's a great community ambassador, and he's going to let you know why, how, and what they're doing over at Sports and Wellness and the other clubs around town to get you back in the gym. Hello, Jim. How you living?
Good. How you doing?
Excellent. I appreciate you spending some time with us. How have the clubs been? You guys been getting pretty good traffic with everything that's going on? I know it's been an adjustment for everybody in every business.
Yeah, I mean, what you just pointed out there is I think it's natural. I mean, I get it that when this whole thing first happened, nobody really knew how to react. And one of the first things they thought of is like, hey, if I'm going to the gym, there's a bunch of people in there. They're going to be sweaty. They're going to be breathing heavy. They're going to be touching a piece of equipment, and then somebody else is going to touch a piece of equipment. And really what we got the opportunity to do when we got the news back in March that we were shut down, it was pretty devastating. But for it ended up being 2.5 months. Every week we were hoping for good news. And during that 2.5 months, it gave us an opportunity to completely revisit the business and say, all right, new world, what's happening? How can we make this be a safe experience for everybody? Because at the end of the day, what has been proven is that healthier people are less likely to get it, and healthier people are going to respond better and recover quicker if they're exercising. So we're like, so let's not shut that down. So we ended up changing our systems. I'll just give you a couple quick things we did here. When you walk into a sports and wellness location, we're getting your temperature checked, where you have to have a reservation so we can maintain proper capacity, which is pretty low right now, so that helps. And then we give every member a bottle of sanitizer and a towel, and we ask them to wipe down everything before they use it. So that way they know with certainty that it has been cleaned because they're cleaning it themselves. And what has turned out, and there's stats all over the place to back this up, not only are health clubs not the breeding grounds for COVID that they originally thought it might be, statistically speaking, we have lower cases than any other business that's operating because of the steps that we're taking. You know, if you go to Smith's and you're looking at a can of soup and you put it back, you're not spraying it down with a sanitizer bottle and putting it back on the shelf. You know, that you're just touching stuff. And the cart, they stopped cleaning carts. You know, with us, we have been diligent since the beginning, and to this day, since we reopened in June, we do not have a single case where an employee or a member has contracted COVID from being inside the club. Not one case so far.
That's a big deal. Jim Gay is the Regional Director for Sports and Wellness with us on the opening drive.
Well, and Jim, to that point, when it comes to being in the club and working out, how are people doing it in terms of staying distance? Is it you have to keep your mask on and things along those lines?
Yeah, and it's been kind of an evolution. First thing we did, one of the things is we said, okay, treadmills. We block off every other one to make sure that they have that proper distance. At the beginning, we had some people where maybe that they were pulling the mask down below the nose because, they wanted to be able to breathe better and things like that. And we've been pretty diligent in enforcing that, but also trying to provide alternatives. Under Armour, for example, has a really good one that does the job but allows you to exercise easier. So there's a lot of options out there that we've investigated that we try to help members with. But I tell you, there were a couple of things I was pretty skeptical about. I go, one, how are we going to do with masks? And two, are members really going to clean their own equipment? I mean, really? And now that we've been open, I think it's 9 months now, I'm blown away. The commitment from the members, the sense of community, everybody else is trying to keep themselves safe and healthy, but they have no interest in being near anybody else. So I'd say it's really been pretty good. We don't have the people in here that we had prior to COVID, but, you have some people that don't even think this is real on the one end, and the other people haven't left their house since March.
Right.
So, but these are people that understand the value, and they are taking the proper steps to make sure they can still stay healthy. They're not going to gain COVID-20 or whatever the poundage we're attributing to the sedentary lifestyle now. It's really working out. I'm really proud of the members and the staff in terms of staying diligent to this even after all this time.
Jim, I think the evolution for all of us is ongoing, and I think for people that might be listening to this, and I haven't gone to the gym because, and hopefully this is going to help them. Are you guys open as far as capacity? Obviously not at full capacity, but are all of your facilities open as far as the entirety of the buildings and classes, or is it just individual workouts? How did you ease your way back into all of that?
Yeah, so the first thing we had was really just pretty much weights and cardio. They weren't allowing classes or anything like that. Then eventually they let us do classes with limited capacity, and it's very spacious in there. You're talking about 10 people in a room that can hold 50. The overall capacity for the club right now is 75. Just to give you a sense of perspective there, an average day at our Del Norte location would be about 1,500 people.
Wow.
And at 75 at one time, you're never going to get anywhere close to that. I mean, on a good day, maybe half of that number, on a busier day. So they've let us do bit by bit, a little bit more here, a little bit more there. The things we're looking forward to now, obviously we'd like to get above 75. We'd like to get to 25% capacity, which would be a much, much higher number for us. But we still don't have showers. You can certainly debate the wisdom in not allowing people to use soap and water to clean themselves. We won't go there. But we still don't have saunas, steam rooms, hot tubs. Some of the nicer amenities that we're known for. Still don't have those yet, but we're hoping we can get those back soon.
All right. Jim, what's the evolution now? I mean, do you guys continue to be flexible? I'm assuming that you're getting a lot of feedback from your members. How's the feedback been and the response, and then just the evolution? Is it just ongoing?
Yeah, for sure. We try to stay in contact with the members, we allowed them to put their memberships on hold if they weren't comfortable with being here. As things change, as we institute a new safety measure or something, we'll communicate back with them to see if maybe this might be the thing that makes them feel a little bit more comfortable with coming back. Members get frustrated, and it's natural for them to share their frustrations with us. But I'll just give you an example of what happened yesterday. Is we were told by the state that face shields, so the plastic face shields, are not acceptable. There was some ambiguity around that for a while, so it was something we were allowed to do. Now we're not. That's an evolution. The people that have been using face shields rather than face masks, not going to be happy about that. So that's directed towards us, and we're like, hey,
Sure.
This is from the state, and we give them an opportunity to respond back to the state. We can provide contact information. But we're really in this together. We want the same things, and we are complying with 100% of what we're told we have to do, and people just get frustrated over time with it. But I'm really thinking now with the vaccines, the news that schools can open now, I'm really feeling for the first time it's not just a light at the end of the tunnel. It's a real thing that I don't know we can guess, but it's getting better now, and it's going to get better every day, every week. And 2021, at some point during this year, this will be a distant memory, I hope.
Well, let's hope so. Jim, I appreciate it. JJ, I think you give stuff I didn't know. It makes me feel better about going back. You?
Yeah, it's you know me. When I'm locked in, I can be pretty good. And the last year, I've not been good at all, and I'm missing weights.
Yeah. All right, Jim, appreciate it. I think it's going to get people back in. Go ahead.
I got an idea. If
Yeah.
any of your listeners are interested, and after hearing this saying, wow, maybe it is safer than I thought it would be, have them mention that they heard this on your show. Tell any of our front desk that that's it. We'll give them a free week. They can come in.
That's great.
They can experience it. No obligation. They're not going to get a sales thing. Just come in and say, hey, how do I feel here? What about these safety measures? And, let them see for themselves, and see if they're comfortable. So any of your listeners that are interested, free week just to try out, experience it, and see if
That's
what
really
we're
cool.
saying hands out for them.
All right, and you've got locations. What do you got? 6 locations? How many sports and wellnesses around town?
So we have 5. We have
5.
River Point on the west side. We got Midtown in the Knott Hill area. We got Del Norte in the northeast. We got High Point in the foothills, and we got downtown in the downtown area.
All right, so if you're not a member at Sports and Wellness, you can go to the front desk and say, we heard the gentleman on the sports animal. You don't even have to remember Jim Gay's name, but if you want to, you can. And say, I heard it on the sports animal, and he said I could get a free week, and you'll get to experience that. Jim, best to you. It's good to hear you, and I look forward to catching up with you sometime soon. But I know it's been a tough time for all of us, and I'm glad you guys have found a way to navigate your way through this, and I think we're going to come out of this okay on the backside. But I think it's great information, and thank you for spending some time with us this morning.
Absolutely, and I can't wait to see you in here throwing some weights around, Jeff.
They'll be in the club probably within the next 6 days.
There
I'm
we
going to
go.
say I heard it
I'll
on the
hold you
sports
to it.
animal. All right, I'll see you. Take care. See you, Jim. Jim Gay, the regional director. So, can you get over to a sports and wellness and try that out?
I just might have to. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good spots. All right, we'll open it back up to Jerry Palm's going to be with us at the bottom of the hour. Hey, you trusted your home and business security to the local company with an armed response. They sold and you got selected. And now your security is on the brink of being bought out by a national corporate giant. That's not what you signed up for. You signed up for local home protection. That's what IPS is, International Protective Service. Call IPS. They're not for sale. IPS is invested in this community. They care about your home. They care about your business security like it's their own. They've got highly trained armed guards or 24-hour patrols. IPS is there to protect what is important to you. I've trusted IPS for years to watch my home. I go out of town, and back before COVID, I travel quite a bit. They protect what's important. They do exterior checks, pick up the newspaper and mail if I want, roll the garbage cans to the curb and back on garbage day. The home has a lived-in look, and my family's got a sense of security. I think it's good for you as well. You can call them. There's no contracts, and you can learn about what they do. International Protective Service is here to protect you and give you that peace of mind. The number is 897-2420. That's 897-2420, or visit them at ipsglobal.com.
If you're
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Let's play it over to Madrid. Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
Over this first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says. Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return. Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it. They're really... Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District matchup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh! Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Dumas Sanchez in the corner.
Back in Fresno, they'll play the Bulldogs at 9 o'clock tonight over on News Radio KKOB. 8:30 is your pregame show. Robert Portnoy, Hunter Green, Lobos, and Fresno State. The ladies go tonight. Of course, Lobos and Fresno State in Canyon, Texas. J.J. Buck. That's a great name. J.J. Buck will have the call right here on the Sports Animal. 5:30 is your pregame show. And 6 o'clock is the action. The Lobos taking on the defending regular season Mountain West Conference champions in women's basketball, Fresno State Bulldogs. You got a good one tonight, man.
I'm excited for it. It was a chance to find out where UNM, the women, are in terms of actually competing. And you look at what we've seen out of Colorado State having a bounce back year. Boise State's good. Fresno State, preseason favorites, still really good at basketball. So how do they stack up? Because they've taken a step up in competition each game out, each series to this point. And this is going to be a dose of reality a little bit, but also, offensively, can you keep up? You have shooters. Elise Hurst, the Duff sisters, Jalen De La Cerda, you got bucket getters. But now they got to make sure they can get buckets efficiently against the top team in the conference, and I'm looking forward to this series.
All right. A little bit of breaking news, although I don't know if this is breaking. I don't know. It's not going to surprise you. So the talk on Deshaun Watson, the quarterback of the Texans, has been that he wants out. And we've heard everybody say it but Deshaun, right? It's been reports. And then last night, you got the story that David Culley had been hired as the new head coach of the Texans. And, well, all right, maybe David Culley will be able to talk to Deshaun and he'll want to stay. Adam Schefter's reporting this morning that Watson has now requested the trade. That the talk up to this, JJ, that he was unhappy, that he wanted out, that he felt dissed by management, that he wasn't, he told he was going to be included in the general manager search. He was not included in that. He signed a 4-year, $156 million extension back in September. So he's under contract through 2025. He's got a no trade inclusion in his contract. So where do you go with that? He's going to get to dictate where he wants to go, what he's going to approve. But I don't know if this is stunning. This is just kind of makes it, okay, absolutely he's on the market. I thought, there was some talk over the last couple of days that maybe things were cooling and he was going to stay. But now you've got some really big name quarterbacks on the market. And JJ, I just really feel unless with him and Stafford, because I think Aaron Rodgers is staying, unless one goes to Indianapolis and one goes to New Orleans, right, just to fill holes. Otherwise, I don't think that's how it's going to be, although it could be. All of a sudden, you've got a game of dominoes, and there's going to be a bunch of these dominoes that are falling.
And Deshaun Watson, the known commodity, it's what are you willing to give up? I mean, it's going to take at least, 2 first-round picks for sure, maybe 3 to get a deal done. And that's a lot of draft capital. But it's also, you're trading for a player that, of the contract extensions, if you look at it, read about it, it's not a crippling contract. Yeah, he's making a lot of money, but he is secured for the next 4 to 5 years under what is now an average star quarterback salary in the NFL. And when you start looking at a lot of these destinations, the question you have to ask yourself with Deshaun Watson, because you still got to build a team around him, right? And that's kind of what happened with Houston is things really fell apart around him this season, is say we end up trading away 2 first-round picks. What are the percentages that you're going to get a player as good as Deshaun Watson with those picks? Probably not great.
Well, no, because he's going to be as good. Yes.
Yeah, so you start thinking about that. Okay, then it's, well, what do we have in place, or what will we need to do moving forward to ensure that our investment in Deshaun Watson will actually pay off? I think when you run through all those scenarios, to me, it still is a no-brainer that even if you give up maybe just a little bit more, all right, your first round for the next couple of years is a little dicey, so be it. You're guaranteed locked in at the position. However, like you said, the no-trade clause changes things. And where you would hope to be in a bidding war, are you going to get that same bidding war if Deshaun's really dead set on maybe just 2 or 3 destinations?
Yeah, and that's what makes it tough. Look, there's a lot of obviouses in here. There's a number of places that are quarterback thirsty right now. If New Orleans, if Drew Brees leaves, New Orleans, New England, Indianapolis. Look, I'm going to throw the Rams and San Francisco into this mix because I don't think either one of them are happy with their quarterback situation. And both of them think that they're really good, and if they have quarterback play, that they're contenders. And I think they're right, don't you?
I think so. If we looked at it right now, you'd say
Chicago.
Teams that are out, to just take them completely out. It's Kansas City.
Okay.
I think it's Green Bay. It's Seattle. I'd probably put Buffalo in there. Baltimore. And is there any else that you?
Tampa Bay doesn't want him for next year. If Tommy's coming back,
so there's 6 teams that you say for sure wouldn't be in the market. And everyone else, let's dabble our toes in here.
Let's just, New England, the Rams, San Francisco, Detroit, New Orleans, Indianapolis, Atlanta, Carolina, Chicago, Minnesota, Washington, Denver, Las Vegas. I'm going to tell you 2/3 of the teams in the league have got to be looking at this just going, because the Denver piece is so, and I've heard this dangled out there a number of times. Denver, to get an established, I hear Stafford a lot, Denver. an established quarterback. But hell, you get one of those guys in Denver, all of a sudden you're legit. You've got a bunch of young receivers there. You've got a core of a defense when they're healthy. Denver's not that far away. You've got horrible quarterback play for how many years now? And that's why Denver's been irrelevant.
Denver, also, they hired new general managers, so their front office structure has changed some as they're looking to build something, because they haven't built it just yet with Drew Lock. It's one you look at where he is, second-round pick, I think heading into year 3 now, so he's under control 2 more years. Would he be someone that's not an expensive quarterback salary that Houston would be intrigued to take back? Because I think one of the things, too, people just say, flop him with Jared Goff or flop him with Jimmy Garoppolo. But if I'm also trading Deshaun Watson, I don't necessarily want to then take on another big quarterback contract with a quarterback you're done with. So.
It depends where you think you are. All right, we'll talk more quarterbacks when we get back. Coming up next, we're talking college football and basketball. Jerry Palm from CBS Sports is going to be with us. Catch up with him on the other side of the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
To Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win. And he got it! And he scored! Got it!
That ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass. Wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. Jalen Bond back, LAU, put it down. Dunkalicious, how about it?
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Natalia Chavez. Good spin. Takes a...
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop too.
Play with the gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a...
Hill, little step, high window. Got the second.
The middle. Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup.
coming from.
Lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime. Sam. Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
There's a long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go.
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good.
Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corvalon's going to go and he puts it away.
10 o'clock tip. 8:30 is the pregame show. Robert Portnoy and Hunter Green will have the call. Lobos in Fresno take on Fresno State. The ladies are here on the Sports Animal. JJ has the call. 6 o'clock, that game's played in Canyon, Texas. 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip-off, UNM and Fresno State. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. Let's talk a little college basketball, get a little bit more of a 30,000 feet view. Jerry Palm covers college sports, football and basketball for CBSSports.com. You read him on a regular basis, and he joins us on Thursdays. Good day, Jerry. How you living?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. As you put together your brackets this year, is it obviously it's different. Is it more challenging this year, or is it more clear this year as you go through and try to put that bracketology together?
I would say it's more challenging, and the biggest challenge is you have teams playing a different number of games.
Yeah.
I have no way of knowing who all the people who've missed time due to COVID, but not enough people missed for the team to not play. For example, Purdue is playing without Sasha Stefanovic. The Big Ten's leading three-point shooter wasn't available for the Michigan game. It's not causing Purdue not to play at all. But I don't know all of those situations. St. Louis took a bad loss to Dayton coming off a very prolonged, month-long COVID break. That's considered one of the better teams in the country. They were a top 25 team. But how do I compare, for example, a St. Louis team that has played 9 games with a Purdue team who's in roughly the same spot of the bracket that has played 12 games just against Quadrant 1 and 2? So those kinds of comparisons are very difficult. I'm hoping that as we get closer to March, the number of games might still be, the difference might still be a relatively high number, but you'll have enough games for everybody to get a fair judgment of them.
Has there been beneficiaries? Because I look at it, I watched Utah State lose to UNLV the other day, and I know Utah State's a team that you've got kind of on the bubble. I think it's a quad 3 loss. I don't know how good or bad UNLV is or not. They were off for a long time because of COVID. Does it play out? And are there any teams or conferences that have an advantage?
Well, I don't know that it's any different than any other year.
Yeah.
The Big 12 and the Big 10 have advantages because they have really good teams up and down the conference. But the ACC does not have the quality we're used to seeing. The fact that Duke and North Carolina aren't very good, relatively speaking, is part of that, but not just that. Nobody's taken their place near the top of college basketball where we're used to seeing those two teams, at least not in that league. So I just think that, like lately I've seen a lot of people saying, well, the Missouri Valley is a two-bid league, just Drake's undefeated. And Loyola is doing pretty well also. And they're both in the top 30 of the net. Drake, I think, is like 10. Wow. And Loyola is right around 30. But that doesn't guarantee anybody anything. That league does not have a win outside the league against a team in quadrant 1 or 2 and has only got one in quadrant 3. So if your league isn't performing outside the conference, it doesn't really matter what the net says. That's a one-bid league right now.
Jerry, in regards to trying to break teams down, everything that you just laid out, it's going to be an incredible challenge. But there is data available, and I was reading your story on the team sheets and how they are made available to the public. What are things that people should look for if they're interested in reading up on that, and things that you try to focus in on?
Yeah, actually, the team sheets have been available to the public for quite some time. What's different about it this year is that they're more interactive. So before, you just got a PDF of everybody's team sheet. You couldn't really do anything with it. You couldn't sort it. You could just read them. Now you've got sorting tools, and you can filter out by like one conference or just a select number of teams. The detailed team sheet for each team has got a little bit more in it. What they are giving the public is actually more than the committee is seeing, and in some ways a little bit different. For example, the public version of the team sheet has got the conference record on it. The committee is not looking at conference records. The committee is looking at the same data that they have always looked at, or at least since they changed to the net the last few years. But the public version of the team sheets has got more information on it than the committee version does.
Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com is with us on the opening drive this morning.
All right, Jerry, let's jump into some teams. How many do you have from the Big Ten right now, and how good is that conference?
It's fantastic. I think I've got 9 at the moment. It's easier to tell you who's not in: Maryland, Penn State, Nebraska. I can't even think of all the 5 for Northwestern. Can't think of the 5th one off the top of my head. But it's a very deep, talented conference. It's going to be hard to put many more than 9 or 10 in because it didn't have the non-conference schedules. The length of your non-conference schedule, the number of games is smaller. Their teams are playing about 7 games. They might normally play 12 or 13 if they're in a tournament. So some teams like Maryland's a 500 team. If they had gotten to play a full non-conference schedule, that's a team that might be in the bracket, but a 500 team is kind of hard to put in the bracket. So, but that league is really deep, really talented, and there's going to be some very good teams in that league that don't make the NCAA tournament.
Where are you with the Mountain West? You've got, I thought, Boise State lost last night, lost by 22 to Colorado State.
That game got away from them because it was like a 5-point game with, I don't know, I was watching up until about 5 minutes left, and even with 5 minutes left, it was still, low double digits, like 12 or something like that, so it really got away at the end, but...
You got 4 teams in the top 56 of the net, and San Diego State's in a stretch now where they got swept by Utah State without Mitchell in the second game, split with Colorado State when they've lost that big league. Now they're going to play Wyoming, New Mexico, I think Fresno State and San Jose State before they finish with 2 with Boise State. So they could go on a little run here. Obviously nothing's in a vacuum. But what do they got? They're just beating each other up, and so it sounds like they could play 3 or 4 into double-digit seeds.
Right. Well, in fact, that's what I have. It's in the Monday bracket I think Boise was my highest seeded team. I want to say they were 41st, which would be a 10-11 seed. But they were 10 or 11 as the highest seeded team. Colorado State, San Diego State, Utah State, all right there. I think Utah State and San Diego State were in play-in games.
Yeah.
My expectation is that Utah State will drop out tomorrow's bracket and be
because of the loss to UNLV.
Yeah, because of the loss to UNLV, and then Carolina, which was my first team out, won, got a decent win. NC State, not a tournament win, but a decent win. So I haven't done it yet. I won't do it till tonight, but my expectation is Utah State will drop out. But those 4 teams are going to be right around there, probably all season long.
I look at what's going on right. You mentioned Carolina and Duke, and Kentucky's got to be thrown in there. And somebody asked me the other day, what's happened to them? And I just kind of explained, you can't do it every year. Like it can't. Everything's got to go in cycles. And they're like, well, yeah, those guys do it every year. How do you explain Duke, Kentucky, even Carolina?
Well, Carolina wasn't that great last year. I don't
That's
think,
right.
if I remember correctly. But for Duke and Kentucky in particular, they're very young teams, like they always are. But because we didn't have the preseason workouts, practices, the time together that teams normally get, I think they're just behind. Even though they're very talented teams, I think their youth is hurting them. But, I'm sorry to keep going back to Purdue, but that's my team. I know them best. But Purdue's got 5 freshmen, and they're all playing. They're all in the rotation, and 2 start. But they're in 4th place in the Big Ten. So you can do it with youth, but Purdue's got youth and experience, and I don't know that Kentucky has got, and in particular, and Duke also have the experienced guys to help sort of carry the youth until they figure things out. Now there's almost 7 weeks to go, 6.5 weeks to go. Plenty of time for Duke in particular, who's 6-5, so they're a game above 500 to get things figured out. Kentucky is really in a hole because I think they're 5-10. So they're about out of losses if they're going to make a run to an at-large spot in an NCAA tournament.
Jerry, appreciate you. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, one more before you get out of here, Jerry. Looks like Big 12, SEC, some crossover games this weekend. What are you looking forward to, and how big can that be for some teams?
Yeah, this is a fun thing. I mean, there's always 2 or 3 good games in here. You're not going to get 6 or 7, but this is a kind of a cool event for mid-conference play. You never know what you're going to get because some teams, when they step out of conference, it throws them off. But like the Texas-Kentucky game, I mean, that's huge for Kentucky because they need to kind of get on a roll. And if they can beat a top 10 team in Texas, that's something that would be really good for them. You've got a Tennessee-Kansas game where Kansas has lost 3 in a row, and it's got to be kind of desperate playing at Tennessee. That's a really good team as well that has struggled lately, although did manage a win this week. Those games like that are a lot of fun. There's usually something on the line, and and I think Auburn is interesting as well because they've gotten the freshman kid Cooper into their lineup for about 5 games or so now, and he's averaging some ridiculous. He's like in the low 20s points per game, a high number of assists. He rebounds. He's a game changer for a team that's not going to the NCAA tournament, but could sure mess things up for somebody else.
I love watching Alabama right now. My favorite sign I saw the other day, and they had fans, we're a basketball school. They might be, man. They're really, really good.
Yeah, they're good. They're fun, and they're hot, too.
Yep. All right, we'll read you every day, and we'll catch up with you next week. Jerry, always appreciate you spending some time with us. Enjoy the weekend, and be well.
All right, take care.
Take care. Jerry Palm. Give his Twitter handle. It's _JP Palm.
No
CBS.
underscore. Just
you're the underscore.
JP Palm CBS. But if you don't want to worry about Twitter handles, just search Jerry Palm, and his profile will pop up. You can follow him. You can interact with him. You can tell him that he hates the basketball team you root for, that he doesn't know anything about college basketball, and you'd be like everyone else that follows Jerry Palm.
Yeah, and he kind of does know his stuff, actually. But when you kind of get into it, he actually really does know his stuff, and he's good, and he's very generous with his time with us every week, and I appreciate him. All right, JJ, we'll respond to that. The Mountain West scene is interesting, and I want to hit that when we come back after what happened last night. Boise State taking their first loss in the league. It's the opening drive. We're on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
These may be uncertain.
as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out! See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. All day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcat! Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Kowski on the sideline! Hasta mañana! He's off to the races! Touchdown, Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the 3, and he buries it.
Coming in soon, double quick set for Avalos, goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high, window, scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Thanks to Jerry for spending some time with us. It's always good insight. I figured it would be tougher for him this year to put the brackets together because you have no reference, right? It's you've got like he's talking about the Missouri Valley. Yeah, that's great. Drake is 10th in the net, but who they played at and what were they able to do outside of conference play? And the answer is probably very little, if anything.
No non-conference play is the biggest wrench into the NCAA March Madness equation because how you select in the other half of the field, it would seem like advantage, quote-unquote, power conferences, and we're seeing that. Just look at the Big Ten and what Jerry said right now, 9 teams he has in his bracket, and I really don't see that changing much because those are the teams that have the better power numbers associated with their resumes, so you're only going to grow that in conference. It's something that I think we'll obviously see a trickle-down effect with the SEC. While it's not Kentucky, well, it's Alabama, it's Missouri. It's these other teams, and then same thing with the SEC. We caught up on Baylor, but Texas is pretty good this year. How about Texas Tech, top 25 team? So usually it is advantage big schools, but I think this year even more so. We're not gonna get a chance to see maybe some of those under the radar teams unless they might knock off a favorite in their conference tournament.
Interesting year for the Mountain West as well, as we sit here with 4 teams in the tournament. And he said he expects, Jerry does, that Utah State will fall out of his bracket after their loss to UNLV. You can't have those losses because of the separation of those top 4 teams. Any loss outside of Boise State, Utah State, Colorado State, or San Diego State will be considered a bad loss. And to give you an idea of the separation right now, taking net rankings, Boise State is 15th. San Diego State is 34, Colorado State 55, and Utah State 56. And that's Utah State after their loss to UNLV. After that, the next highest net ranking team is UNLV at 139, and that's after their win over Utah State. And so you've got 139 and 141 with Nevada, and then you're dipping 175 with Wyoming, and 220 for Fresno State, 289 for Air Force, 307 for New Mexico, and 334 for San Jose State. Those are all, so there's no good losses. And that's why when I read you San Diego State's next 8 against Wyoming, San Jose State, Fresno State, and who did I forget in there? New Mexico. They can't lose a game. I mean, I guess they can because they've got the UCLA and Arizona State win, which really helped them. They're one of the few that have a couple of non-conference victories, JJ. They played the BYU game, which is not a bad loss for them. So they've got a little bit of leeway because they've got something on the other side. But Utah State, Boise State, they don't have that.
Yeah, and this is everything I just said to open the segment about the power conferences. In a way, it is kind of helping the Mountain West that they have these teams at the top that have been able to be good and have actually avoided. Yeah, they missed out on probably some opportunities, but they probably avoided some bad losses and in non-conference play as well. So that's why they are where they sit right now. So while it's still probably advantage power conferences, it's leaving the door open a little bit for a conference like the Mountain West right now.
Colorado State beat Boise State last night, 78-56 up in Fort Collins. 78-56. That was Boise State's first league loss, and their first loss since their opening day loss against Houston, which is a top 10 team. The other game last night, Utah State bounced back and avenged their loss the other night in Vegas, 83-74. They had 5 players in double figures, did the UTAGs. So, I look at it, JJ, and I think there's going to be teams that slip. I think Nevada is certainly capable of beating a Boise State. San Diego State already swept them. But I think Wyoming's going to clip someone along the way. I think UNLV gets another win or two somewhere along the way. Gosh, JJ, I don't know that I see New Mexico or San Jose State beating Boise State, Utah State, Colorado State, or San Diego State, but I think there's a slip up along the way. My gut's going to tell me, but when it's all said and done, that it's going to be 3 teams. I'd love to see 4 get in, but my gut tells me 3. Where do you think it ends up?
Ooh, that's a good question. Over under 2.5.
I would say over under 3.5.
You're going 3.5.
Yeah, I would say I would get. So you'd obviously go under the 3.5. I think 3 of them are going to get in this year. I do.
So I think that's why I'd put it at 2.5 because I'm not sure if it's quite a 4-team race in terms of the NCAA tournament.
So who's out?
Mountain West Conference.
Who's out in regards to the NCAA? If you think 3 get in, Boise State, Utah State, Colorado State, San Diego State, who's out?
Because someone is going to have another bad loss. And so I think that's what ultimately just one game in this type of scenario will drop a team. I will have to look at the schedules to give you the full take on that. But I would put it at 2.5, and I think 3 is fair. But I do think it might be a little bit less once we get to the end because we're looking at all these other conferences, the crossover games this week, Big 12, SEC. There's just there's going to be teams that are able to pad their resume a little bit more than what we see right now in the Mountain West.
Yeah, Boise State's going to be the interesting one to me. They've got another one at Colorado State. Then they got to go to Nevada. UNLV's playing better. They still Boise State ends the season with 2 at home against Utah State and 2 on the road against San Diego State.
Yep, it was a snare, right? Where we like Boise State, but we knew their tougher challenges were coming at the end.
Yeah, I think that's right. All right, I got emails for you. I want to hear your thoughts on the NFL stuff. Reset everything for you. Got to get into the Lakers. Did you watch the Lakers and Sixers last night? Did you catch any of that?
Good basketball.
It was entertaining basketball and kind of a couple of twists at the end of that game. We'll get into that. 505-246-0610. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. Micah's on the radio side. It looks like Josh flying solo, giving you pictures on ProView Network so you can watch the show on our Facebook page, the OD and the AM, or go to their YouTube page, ProView Networks. Micah, smile. You're on Candid Camera. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the 3, and he buries it.
They'll be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen. Against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a 3 that is by Jalen.
Hidon puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Tries to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotnet sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh! Davidson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Barnes Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam one home.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Game day, it used to mean so much. Game day, are you staying up late to watch the Lobos? 9 o'clock tip-off, that's right. Which network are they on? Fox or CBS tonight, do you know? I'll find that for you. I thought you might know. I do know the time, I'll give you that.
Do you think people come to us for sports information, Jeff? You're out of your mind.
That's a really good point.
I'm pretty sure it's
really
CBS.
Well, and you know, Fox Sports is now Bally Sports.
What?
No, that's just a regional network. It's not the big one. So.
Yeah, I'm like, what? It's on
It
CBS
is CBS Sports Network.
Yeah, CBS Sportsnet. JJ, you're a betting man. Lobos are only 7-point dogs on the road at Fresno. They played 1 game in conference within double digits. That's including their 9 losses and their 1 victory. You like the Lobos in 7 tonight on the road at the Save Mart Center?
I will take Fresno State in that number. If I was a betting man.
I might too. Aztecs laying 15.5 at home against Wyoming. I think that's too many points.
That one, yep, that feels like a trap.
Yeah,
feels like a trap, especially with Wyoming coming off sweeping Nevada.
Yep.
So it seemed like a lot of people would be jumping on Wyoming.
Yep.
In this game 1.
Yep, totally agree. And then Air Force is a 4.5-point favorite on the road. Where are they playing that game? They're back in San Jose now at the Provident Credit Union Event Center in San Jose. 4.5 points. Air Force is a favorite there. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. Micah produces the radio side. The television side over ProView Networks is Josh and J. Paul. Bourne says, sure enjoy listening to Jerry Palmer now that he has a working phone, Jeff. Yeah, it is quite a difference. If there was ever a commercial that wasn't a commercial for the new iPhone 12, it's Jerry Palm. It is. Ron said 1-19, question mark. Jeff, is this must win tonight? Lobo basketball is running out of winnable games. And this evening in beautiful Fresno, California looks like one of them. I don't even know what must win. When you're 1-9, dude, what's must win mean? I mean, what must win to achieve what goal? To achieve the goal of getting 5 wins?
9.
I mean, I don't know what must win means anymore, Ron. I'm more concerned. Are you staying up for the game? Like it used to be, these 9 o'clock starts on the West Coast, you would say, man, it's getting a little later night. And I'm more concerned about the Zoom press conference with Paul Weir at 11:30 tonight. Who's going to be on it from the media side? It's going to be Grammer, and it's going to be Will and anybody else. Everybody else is going to just take the feed that they send me later. right? I mean, are people staying up? Are you excited for the? I mean, you're staying up. I'm staying up. I know we'll watch it. It's gonna be hard not to. I doze off at those games, right? Right about like 10, 20-ish. I'm like, I'm wobbling. I am.
Oh, if there ever was a question about where Lobo basketball is, here is another one. A late night game on the West Coast. Are you able to stay up? Do you even want to?
Do you
stay
want
up?
to? Yeah.
It's going to be on the Lobos to keep you in that game. Because if they're down double digit at halftime, guess what? People are going to bed.
Deuce out. Like I may peace out at halftime. You can tell me about it in the morning. No, I'll watch the whole thing, man. I'll watch every single play. Of course I will, like every single game I do. Women's game too.
Which sets it very nicely because 6 o'clock tip for the women. Get that game in, be done, and set yourself up for a little late night viewing with the men.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious. I had a conversation with somebody a basketball coach the other day, a college basketball coach, and asked me how was it there amongst Lobo fans. I said it's rough, man. It's rough, and I just I think as bad as it is, I think it would be more vocally loud if it wasn't COVID and there were games in the pit, and you were seeing like what do you think? Somebody I asked somebody. Well, it was the same conversation, actually. What do you think crowds would be? I said about 6,000. Do you think 6,500? And he's like, yeah, gosh, probably no walk-up. And what, 2/3 of your season ticket base would be going to the games? I mean, like honestly, what would you anticipate? I know we're playing a game that we'll never have an answer to, but what do you anticipate crowds would be at the pit? Because I think as bad as it is, it would be worse because then all of a sudden the news would care, and like Channel 7, who just now has got a sports guy after the last 8 years or whatever, would send somebody out to do a story on Lobo basketball, but it would have nothing to do with basketball. Oh, the pit's dwindling, and how much money are you losing, Eddie? How much money are we losing? How much money? How much money? How much money? Right? I mean, that would be the story, wouldn't it?
It would be. And this is a situation where not even just being out of state, but not having fans. So we don't have that storyline. Because it's one that you can't deny it. We've all talked about it. We understand the challenges. Everyone does. But let's say they had the same amount of practice time as everyone else. How many of these games right off the bat initially were they flipping? Like, do you see? Could they have closed out one of the UNLV games, one of the Nevada games? So you're in a little bit different place. Maybe you're only 3 games under 500. You're still not good, but you're a little bit better. It's a lot of what ifs. You never know. Just what you do know is unfortunately what we've seen, and it hasn't been all that good.
Lobo Hobo says, when Weir said 25 of the next 30 days are on the road, Jeff, I'm guessing that even though GoLobos.com still has the Wyoming game at Dream Style, that series has been moved. Frank? ? Lobo Hobo. Yeah, they're not playing. Well, I mean, I think they're still trying to get an okay, but they're not playing at home. They're just. I don't think they are. I mean, look, there could be, some point. We're watching things loosen almost on a daily basis now, right? But I just
it's one of those things where initially it's like, yeah, Lobos can practice at home, but then you understood why Paul was just kind of like, okay, like at this point in time, whatever, because we still have everything that we have to do on the road. And you won't probably see them bouncing back here as much as you initially thought when that came down, just based on where they are in the schedule.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, okay, great, whatever. Gene, he is a big disliker of Ray Birmingham. Gene says, built-in excuses for Coach Talk a lot. Jeff, I'm sure if Lobo baseball struggles, we're going to hear that they couldn't practice until late. The non-conference schedule was so tough, especially with all the games on the road, etc. Why is it when Ray spews this, some Lobo fans will eat it up, but Paul Weir says it, and he gets beat up because he's trying to justify another crummy campaign? Because they're not competitive. I mean, honestly, they're coming off a bad year. He's in his 4th year, and they're not competitive. I mean, if Lobo baseball's getting beat every day by 10 runs and they're not competitive, I think you're going to. First of all, more people care about Lobo basketball than Lobo baseball, period. Always has been. and you're watching a product that you've watched over the last 3 years that you've been dissatisfied with. Now, I know, Gene, you've been dissatisfied with Lobo baseball, but they're not competitive. I don't know. What would you think the difference is if Ray Birmingham says the same thing, same type of things? We're on the road, we're not playing at home, we're playing a tough schedule, we started late, we didn't get to work out, all those things. Kind of what Danny said, right? Kind of what Paul says. Why do you think it would be perceived differently for Lobo baseball? Or do you?
It's just the hierarchy of where they sit just in Lobo fans' mind. And what are you rooting for? Yeah, you say you're a Lobo fan, but what do you have more of an emotional attachment to?
Well, I also think Ray Birmingham has won some conference championships. You build up a little credit when you win a few. Well, Jeff, that was X number of years ago. You're right. No, you're absolutely right. Lobo basketball has not under this coach. And, I mean, I don't know how you tell me the program hasn't gone backwards each year, right? Well, Jeff, that was because, Bragg had that incident. Oh, okay. Okay. They were 10-1 and then, okay, yes. But what did they end up? What are they this year? I mean, 1-9 is as bad as it's ever been, right? Is their worst start in league play, I think, ever. That's why, Gene. Therein lies the difference. Danny Gonzalez gets a pass. It's his first year, and he's coming off of 3 horrible years and rebuilding a program. And by the way, he won his last 2. They got better. Who'd they beat, Jeff? Yeah, they beat 2 decent teams. Not great teams, decent teams. Teams that were beating the crap out of them for the last 3-4 years, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's why, Gene. You build up a little bit of credit when you win. A little bit. So 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Emails, Jeff at 610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com. Want to get a little bit more into the quarterback carousel. Are the Cowboys part of it? Should the Broncos be part of it? With all these names now, we think we know that at least 2 are going to move. But what will that trigger? Does Tua move? Is it more than just Stafford and Deshaun Watson? And I'm going to tell you, it's probably got to be yes. That's coming up next. Guys, hope the new year's off to a great start. So how you feeling? Hope you're feeling fantastic. But if you are not, if you're feeling sluggish, dealing with fatigue, low energy, low T, erectile dysfunction, you can take care of all that. You can call New Mail and you can feel like you again. New Mail is the leader in men's health. They're here in Albuquerque, and they've helped thousands of men all over the country feel better. What is more important, possibly, than your health, especially now? Taking care of you, feeling well is a priority, and New Mail makes it possible. Call them at 505-652-1688. That's 505-652-1688, or visit newmail.com. That's NUMALE.com. The whole process is comfortable. The results are absolutely real. From the phone call to your first visit all the way through the treatment, New Mail will be with you. They'll help you take care of the low energy, hair loss, erectile dysfunction. Their testosterone replacement therapy utilizes cutting-edge technology. They're out front of this when it comes to men's health. The number is 505-652-1688. Guys, take care of yourself. Make the call. Visit New Mail. That's newmail.com. Or call them at 505-652-1688, and you'll feel better.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand. And
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
boy, Jefferson wide open. Getting
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Domino Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. Kobe Devils is all over the place. Heck about the lob to Agbaiosi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham. It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a three for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good...
Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, twine!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
look at this, they're not going to score again. Look at this.
Up top. Yes, and the finish for Agbaiosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Domino Lovato. Up high, down hard for Agbaiosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Lobo men's golf finished third at the Arizona Intercollegiate Tournament in Tucson, or near Tucson. 17 teams, including 6 out of the Pac-12. Arizona won it. Wake Forest finished second, and then New Mexico finished third. Aggies were also in that. They finished 53rd. Or, I'm sorry, they finished 53rd. They were plus 53. They finished 17th out of the 17 teams there, 1 stroke behind Utah. So it was Arizona, Wake Forest, New Mexico, San Francisco, and UNLV. Good showing by the Mountain West. A couple of Lobos tied for 5th. Sam Choi and Albert Bonetta both finished the tournament 1 over par. That was 5 strokes off of the leader, Brad Reeves from Arizona. So nice showing for Glenn Milliken's team. And again, it's another program that what have they been able to do? Now, you can play golf, right? I don't know that he's been able to get them together, but the players have been able to play. Relatively decent weather, although cold. But that's a nice outing in January for Lobo men's golf.
Yeah, good way to start the season. Get out there and hit the links running.
They're going to play tomorrow over at the beautiful Siembieda Golf Club. I got 3 inches of snow still in the backyard. I'm like, I got a tee time.
Hopefully they cleared out the greens.
Yeah, let's hope so. All right, 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Your emails come in, jeff@610knml.com. All right, Omar sent me a note. He said, and he's a big Cowboy fan, when you're the NFL's most complete franchise, you shouldn't have to overpay for quarterback, Jeffy. Especially this year when it looks like there's going to be long line of big-name quarterbacks potentially on the market. He's still against paying Dak. Look, Omar, you pay your quarterback market value. I've seen a lot of conversation. Oh, Stafford would be better there. What makes Stafford better there than Dak Prescott? Like, if you want to tell me Deshaun Watson, I'll listen to that. If you want to tell me you're in the Deshaun Watson market and you're not going to pay Dak, but you don't, first of all, you can't get Deshaun because you got nothing to give. You don't have enough to give them back in return. You don't have a package of picks to give Houston back to get that. But if you were going to tell me that, I'd listen. I'm not listening to the Matthew Stafford conversation. It doesn't make sense. Now, Stafford has got 2 years left. I think he's making $23 million, $25 million over the next 2 years. They front-loaded his deal, gave him like $90 million up front. But this whole Cowboys conversation on Dak, your best bet is to pay Dak Prescott market value, and he needs to take it this time, JJ. And I think being faced with that injury and realizing how fragile your health is and how fragile a career is, I think at this point he takes the market value deal. But I told you this earlier, and I still firmly believe this. There may be a better situation for Dak. If Dak wants to say, you know what, bleep it. I want to go free agent. Now, do they franchise him again? They can. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of money to franchise him again. But they're the best bet for I believe for the Cowboys, and I'm swayed to believe for Dak, although I'm not sold that the best situation for Dak is Dallas. They just need to get this done.
It's the one for sure situation. You know that Dallas would be willing to offer said contract, having negotiations, but because still as a free agent, there's uncertainty. Now, how much can teams pay you? Who's willing to give you money? Because they're right off the top of your head, there's 2 places that are better that could be in the quarterback market. We know one is for sure in Indianapolis, and if Drew Brees retires, there's an opening. Now, the Saints' cap is a mess because they're one of those teams that was right up against it, so they're going to have work to do. But I'm with you on Dak Prescott. It was negotiations, and it happened. I don't necessarily think it was money, right? When it was Dak in Dallas, it was about the years. Unfortunately, he just lost a year due to a severe ankle injury, but fingers crossed, we assume he comes back healthy. It makes a ton of sense to run it back and still have a very good quarterback, relatively young, even coming off a severe injury. But we have seen so many crazy things happen with the way these athletes are built, the rehab they go through, and, of course, just the science that's out there to help them heal and all the surgeries that they go through. But, yeah, because it's a lot of teams want to move on from their quarterback, potentially, whether it's Jared Goff, Jimmy Garoppolo.
But they can't.
But there's so much money involved.
Yeah.
There's so much money. And then
Carson Wentz.
Are you willing to take? How do you move on from this guy and go get someone you think is better? But it's not like any of these dudes are cheap. It's a lot of moving parts.
Well, I think the Carson Wentz situation is the same thing. And as much as I do believe the Rams want to move on from Jared Goff, they can't. Nobody, who's taken that contract? Like, I would tell you that, not that I think somebody's going to take on the Carson Wentz contract, but you would be more apt to take on Carson Wentz's contract, which they're very similar, than you would Jared Goff's, wouldn't you? Even though you could argue that Goff had a better year than Wentz, I think there's still more belief that Wentz's upside is better than Goff's.
Yeah, I don't know the particulars of those 2 deals together because it's more so the hit the team is taking that's giving up the quarterback, like the money that you just have to eat, like just sitting there on your salary cap and then you can't do anything else, which is why it's hard to get out from some of these deals. And it's Jared Goff because, you know, if you're in that situation, the quarterbacks you might think are better, how do you get them? So it's the one where he's good, but is he great? No, but can we compete? Yeah, but what do we do? And so that's why you have Sean McVay kind of like, have we hit the Jared Goff ceiling? I believe we have. And that ceiling is, well, you can compete. You can get to the postseason. Are they going to be a Super Bowl team again? Because they sure as heck had the defense. And you wonder how much better are they at the very end if it's Jared Goff just doesn't have the thumb injury. Because I think even fully healthy, there's not many of us that are out there saying they would have won that game at Lambeau.
Omar is back in. He says, you and I are like one on this issue, Jeff. Stafford does nothing for me. Dallas Cowboy fans that want him are looking at bottom line. Jerry can get him cheap. 2 seasons for the price of 1 compared with some of these other guys. That's fine. I don't know that I think Matt Stafford gives you a better chance to win right now than Dak Prescott. And I know over the long haul, Dak Prescott gives you a better chance, right? One guy's on his way up, one guy's on his way back down. Stafford's good. And I'm really in this purgatory on him. The mantra is, well, he's never won anything. He's been to 3 playoff games in a decade. He hasn't done anything. Well, he hasn't had any weapons. Well, has he really not had any weapons? I mean, honestly, I don't think he's had great running backs. He had Megatron for what, 6 years, 7 years? How long did he have Megatron?
Well, to me, it's more of a franchise question. Like, has Detroit ever had a good defense? Like, ever had something where it's been, all right, Matthew Stafford's good, but you don't need Matthew Stafford to go 404 every single weekend.
Yeah, with all due respect in this one, I can't put that franchise woes completely on that quarterback, but by the same token, I can't completely resolve him of any culpability, right? I mean, if you're going to tell me Tommy won all those years with well, who was his receivers, and Drew Brees did this, and well, then Stafford probably should have had a couple of years where they made some noise, right? And that franchise, JJ, next to what the Chargers were this last year, that franchise has some brutal losses over the years. That franchise knows how to lose.
Which is wild.
They are creative. Yeah.
When you look at quarterbacks with the most comeback wins over the last 9 to 10 years, Stafford is up there.
That's right.
And yet they've lost so many of those games.
That's right. But they are creative in how they lose, kind of like the Chargers were. Stafford's going to help someone. Stafford to New Orleans makes sense. Stafford to Indy makes a ton of sense.
I'm on the phone right now with that offer, just straight up. First round pick, and if you want, all right, here's a third or something else if you want. Like right now, Indianapolis, New Orleans,
San Francisco. San Francisco makes a lot of sense for me with Matt Stafford. The Rams they just can't get out. But San Francisco paid Garoppolo a boatload of money, right? How are they getting out of that? Right? Jimmy Garoppolo was the first of those, oh my goodness contracts, wasn't it? Of the recent round of oh my goodness contracts, wasn't it? And so they're buried in a ton of cap space there. I look at this whole thing in like I said, there's some places that it makes a lot of sense. Dallas is not one of them. Dallas again, Cowboy fan, we sit around here and we want to talk about the Cowboys just being on the brink. Guys, they missed the playoffs in the worst division in football. Their defense was awful. They were Alice. There was no D in Dallas. They were the Alice Cowboys. They've got a lot of issues. Now, if they shore up their D and get a quarterback, we can have a conversation. And can you do all that in an offseason? Yeah, you can, but you got a quarterback. And you've offered him, and I think this time he pays it. I just look, Stafford to New Orleans, to Indianapolis, to San Francisco. Where's Vegas? Is Vegas tied now? Are they Derek Carr? Like they'll get in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes like everybody else will. But does Matt Stafford make sense there?
That's one where I don't view Stafford as better than Derek Carr. Like he just leaps and bounds. Like all of a sudden, you're say you're an average team, and now you're an above average team because Matthew Stafford is your quarterback.
All right, I will tell you. Here's one team that he makes above average is Denver, and I think Denver's got to be looking at both of these guys on the market. Both, you go hard at the Deshaun Watson thing. Anybody's going to go hard at the Deshaun Watson thing. But I think you go relatively strong at Stafford, because I think Stafford makes you a contender, not for that division, obviously, with Mahomes, but as a wild card team, and see what happens when you get there. I'm watching a 5 seed in the Super Bowl this year in Tampa Bay, right? Denver, because I will tell you that both those guys are better than Drew Lock. I believe that.
Yes, that is fair.
Okay.
You're still waiting on Drew Lock. Like it's just hope. Like this was supposed to be the year that, all right, there's a foundation and there's some development, but then he has a shoulder injury. You lose Cortland Sutton. All the other stuff went on, and you're right back to where you were before this year with Drew Lock, just hoping he turns into a quarterback.
So don't you want Denver to be in the sweepstakes for one of these guys?
Yes, they are a team that in no way is set at the quarterback position and has to be on that whiteboard going, all right, here's our option, here's what option B could be, and here are some trade scenarios.
Yeah. All right, 505-246-0610. Bronco fan, I'm kind of curious where you are. I mean, is everybody's making these moves or at least talking about moves? And, would Houston trade for Tua and draft picks for Deshaun, which is really, really intriguing, by the way. Everybody, where's Denver? And I think you'd like to see them in this conversation as well. It's the opening drive on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Got into it and had some nice looks at the rim. Win inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Dalion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
All right, so it's quarterback roulette's go, and what do you want to see your team? What do you want to see them do? I mean, whether you're the Rams or the Niners or the Broncos, or I mean, like are the Steelers in this conversation? Are we just certain that they're coming back and bringing Ben back? Because to your point, I look at what 5 teams right now. Tampa Bay can't make a move for another year, right? They can't. They got Tommy. He doesn't retire if they win the Super Bowl, does he? Comes back and tries to do it again.
I don't see Tom Brady retiring.
Right. So they're set. Arizona's set. Green Bay is set. I think the Giants are set. Do you think they're set?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope.
I'll take them off. Buffalo's set, right? Miami? I don't think so. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Tennessee would move, and Kansas City, right? And the Chargers. 9 teams are set.
So yeah,
you 10
and
the Seattle.
To Burrow and Herbert. I think if I'm Miami, if I can do a trade, I'd give
Tua
up 3
and picks?
first-round picks.
And Tua.
But what I would say is, all right, I'll give you 3 this year, 2 more first-round picks. Tua, you let us keep 18. Because then all of a sudden you get Deshaun Watson, a first-round pick this year.
Right.
A lineman, something else.
Right.
I think that's a great starting point. Of course, I think Houston would say, no, just give us a 2 this year and then 1 next year. But they have the best starting point of any squad, and they're a legitimate team right there on the cusp. If Deshaun Watson came in there, took over that offense with what Brian Flores done defensively, yeah, they're challenging Buffalo immediately.
I think that's right. And so to your point on keeping the 18th pick, giving them what do they have, the 3rd?
Yes.
They and isn't it Houston's 3rd they'd be giving back to them? It's their own pick, right?
Yeah.
We'll give you back your damn pick. Yeah, we'll give you back your damn pick. It's still better than what anybody else can do. Here, we're going to give you Tua. You get a quarterback for the future. And he's cheap. He's on a rookie contract, okay? Here's the 3rd overall pick this year. We're keeping 18. But we'll give you our first-round pick next year and another package of picks. Like that's probably better than anybody else can do right off the bat, no matter who anybody else is, except for maybe the Jets, if the Jets want to give number 2 this year, and Sam Darnold and another pack of picks. I think those are the 2 teams. If you're looking for what can they give back, I can get a young quarterback in return, so I'm not starting from scratch, and I can build everything else around, and maybe we've got a quarterback that can become something, whether it's Tua or Sam Darnold. It's not expensive at quarterback, although Darnold's you're gonna have to make a decision on him pretty quick, right? I get a package of picks, and I get a young quarterback, and I get a haul of draft picks. To me, it's the Jets and Miami who can do the most.
Yes, with the initial picks right out of the gate, and then if you're any other franchise, you have to seriously consider it because this doesn't happen. Like 25-year-old quarterback that we know can be one of the top 5 best quarterbacks in the league. We have seen it under contract, not outrageous. You're gonna, be getting your upper echelon quarterback salary, but you are getting a for sure known commodity at his age. I would expect a lot of teams to throw out offers, and then it's Deshaun too, as he starts looking around and
no trade clause.
At no trade clause. You might think, all right, this somehow, some way, the Jets have kind of emerged as like, oh, maybe New York is a place he really wants to go. But once he takes a step back and is looking at the landscape overall, I do believe he'll probably open up a little bit more to just really going, maybe Miami would be pretty interesting to go right in there and compete right away. Because the Jets are going to take some time. Even with Deshaun Watson, they got work to do. So does he want to go somewhere and just go to New York to be there, be in that market and grow, or try to compete right away with a franchise that in Miami seems to be pretty set for the coming years?
Well, let me give you also this. Let me give you this lifestyle.
Yep.
Right? Do you want to live in Miami or you want to live in New York? Some people love New York. Some people love the New York lifestyle. Most people kind of love the Miami lifestyle. You want to be warm? You want to be cold? Do you want to go to a place that's got really, really high state income tax? Do you want to go to a place that has no state income tax? All those things play into it. Oh, and by the way, Miami's better than the Jets are right now.
Isn't Texas the no income tax?
Texas is, yeah.
In there, right?
Yeah, so is Florida. Sean, how you feeling about that? Because I know you'd love to see him go to your spot.
See, that's the thing. It would be great to have him, but, man, 3 first-round picks is still steep to me.
And Sam Darnold.
No. I don't see it like that. I'd keep Darnold in the picks. You can get better value with those picks, even trading back from the second pick. Because what's his contract? $40 million?
Yeah, Darnold's cheap.
Yeah. We've got $60 million, something like that, in cap space that's being carried over. That's 2/3 of it gone already.
Yeah, but I mean, Deshaun Watson is a different level quarterback. You don't think that?
Oh, he is a difference maker. I think with the right team around him, he would do great. And it's the same thing I said about Trevor Lawrence. He's not going to change the Jets overnight, and neither will Watson. We're more than a quarterback away from being a competitive team.
See, I think he's right. Yeah, I think you're right.
So don't mortgage your future for Watson when we really need those picks to keep building.
All right. You want to go a different way. All right, Sean.
But I think he's going to be great for somebody other than the Texans. I think the Texans are the biggest mess in the league right now. They took that handoff from the Jets. So I appreciate the Texans right now.
All right. Thanks, man. All right, let's burn this last break.
Have a good one.
And we'll come back. I got 2 lines open at 505-246-0610. We'll get to you when we get back on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds, into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portell.
Davis in a play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown.
So Davison back to toss, and he's got all day. It's one miss.
He's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
Hey, we told you he
touchdown.
could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win in his back, but.
West and the number one team in the East going into last night faced off in the NBA last night. Sixers beat the Lakers 107-106. Sixers had like an 11-point lead, JJ, with 2 minutes to go, and then you looked up and the Lakers were up by 1 with 12 seconds left. Lakers went on a run, and then Tobias Harris hit a jumper to give the Sixers the victory with 2 seconds to go. But pretty entertaining hoops down the stretch.
Very entertaining. I've enjoyed what Philadelphia has done this season. You're wondering, really, Doc Rivers, is it really the fault of the coach? He's working well with this roster, but it's the evolution of Joel Embiid fully taking charge, ownership of this Philadelphia offense. And there's a reason Ben Simmons right now is scoring his fewest points per game in his career. It's just the reality of it is he is a complementary player on this roster. Everything needs to funnel through Joel Embiid. Of course, you have a player like Tobias Harris that can step up and make a shot at the end of the game as well. And Ben Simmons has to be good facilitating the basketball defensively and attacking the basket. That will maximize his talent, his role on this team, and him taking a little bit of step back in the offense has allowed them overall to be better. And definitely back legit conversation, they can knock off Milwaukee. They can be a team that wins the Eastern Conference and is right there with Brooklyn in the mix when we get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, good NBA last night. All right, back to it, 505-246-0610. Fred, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hi, Fred.
Hey, guys. Hey, BYU, you were talking about the Mountain West and stuff, and, you know, we might get 3 teams, 4 teams, but, you know, BYU is a team that I think is they lost a big game last night. I know it's still early. They got probably 10 games to go, but they lost by 76-73 to Pepperdine. It's a big loss for BYU, so I think that's going to help maybe possibly, you know, maybe bring that 4th team into the Mountain West. And I had to talk about a couple guys that played last night. I know you guys watched some of the game, but I don't know how much of the game you watched, but I couldn't believe this Rod. Is it Roddy or R-O-D-D?
Roddy. Yeah, David Roddy.
Yeah. Anyway, he was a star quarterback in high school in Minnesota. He was a player of the year one year, and he averaged 27 points and 15 rebounds in high school, and that's exactly what he scored last night. He was unbelievable last night. And the thing that was really remarkable about him is he also, this is kind of unusual, when you ever see a star basketball player and a quarterback, he won the shot put in the discus there in the state of Minnesota. I thought that was pretty cool, though, for him. And then the other guy was I never heard of this guy because he was a freshman. And he's really coming on strong for Utah State. I think he's going to help. It's that Raleigh Wooster. And he was a star quarterback. He was a really cool name of a high school. He played for Hell's Gate High School in Montana. He was a 2-time Player of the Year, threw for 3,700 yards, ran for 2,000 yards, and he ends up last night scoring 19 points, had 9 assists and 9 rebounds and 3 steals. So I just wanted to bring up those 2 names because we still have to, he's just the Mountain West guys. I just wanted to tell you how good those guys were and kind of watch out for those 2 guys from now on. So, all right. Lady Lobos. They got their hands full. Fresno State, I know JJ talked about them, but I watched Colorado State beat Boise, and Colorado State looks really good, and of course Boise's really good. So the Lady Lobos they're going to have their hands full the rest of the year. So good luck to the Lobos tonight. That's it, guys. See ya.
All right, Fred. The Hell's Gate Knights, that's where he went. And Raleigh Wooster. And first, we're like, Addie and I were watching the game a couple weeks ago. Wally Wooster? Like who's the cartoon character? No, it's Raleigh Wooster. He just got engaged. He's a freshman, but that's Utah State. And he went nuts yesterday. They had 5 guys in double figures. Utah State did yesterday, in their victory over UNLV.
What we're seeing is, how is it that UNM is not recruiting the best football player out of these states for their basketball team?
Well, the best shot putter out of Montana, for crying out loud. Yeah, how are they not getting that?
Multi-sport athlete.
Here's what's frustrating. Here's what's frustrating people.
Do it if you can.
Who's the best player next year? You're a Lobo fan, okay? You're excited about who?
Can Isaiah Chavez shoot a 3?
QB 5 for 3. Still not on scholarship. Walking on both teams. Yes. I mean, but are you excited about Byron Matos' development? Like, all of a sudden, Byron Matos was the guy. Oh, did you see him sitting on the bench? Oh, look at him. We should have played him last year. He's playing behind Valdir Manuel now, right? I mean, Valdir Manuel's getting the majority of the big guy minutes. So are you excited about Manuel? Like, are you excited about Francis getting a full year of development and being healthy? Are you excited about Saquon Single? Like who? But then this is what's frustrating Lobo fan. They look over and they see Robinson at Fresno State, the development. They look at Wally Wooster. I mean, Raleigh Wooster. I mean, look at that guy. Where did Roddy come from? Look at what San Diego State keeps getting, one after another after another. Where is everybody getting these guys? Boise State. And then you're looking at your roster, you're just going, what am I excited about? This is part of the frustration for Lobo fan right now is if we're losing, and we've gone through losing seasons around here before. I think everybody has. But you're grasping for something. Am I seeing progress? We've talked about this so much with football, right? Just went through a 2-4 football season, but you feel pretty good, or 2-5, and you feel good about your football team because they won the last 2 and you saw progress. This is what's killing Lobo fan. Where's my progress?
Absolutely. And what you just laid out, I agree with. The thing I will point to is with Colorado State, we saw that last year. Like, those were the players that you're like, okay, they're going to be good. So it's not like they just morphed.
It's the whole point.
Out of nowhere. Yeah. And then with Rooster, who's a good player, he would be different if he was the only player on a team.
That's absolutely right.
There's that aspect too of, well, he's able to flourish because you have a pretty good team.
Got Keita and Caillou and all the rest of those guys.
And the thing is, yeah, Robinson's nice, but also Fresno State's not necessarily flourishing either.
They're not good.
But ultimately, circling back to your point, Javonte Johnson, like, if I'm a Lobo fan, like, maybe he can morph into the player that everyone was hyped about when he was in high school, scoring a bunch of buckets up in Colorado. But yeah, other than that, you're
maybe. I don't know, man. I'm grasping for a ray of hope, and I think that's what Lobo fans are. All right, you get them tonight over on News Radio KKOB.
1 minute.
What was that?
Grasping for a ray of hope. Someone write that. That is hit written all over it. Mark that down.
Just grasping for a ray. And rays are hard to get a hold of.
I know there's some songwriters out there listening. Let's go.
Ladies basketball tonight on the Sports Animal. JJ hits the airwaves at 5:30. Ladies against Fresno State. Men over on News Radio KKOB 8:30 pregame show. Robert and Hunter will have the call. Fresno State will be the venue at the Save Mart Center. Jim Rome show is next, and Patrick show's after that. Sports Bar for a while at 3 o'clock with Trulio and Carlisle. We'll back tomorrow morning with award-winning radio for you. Micah, walk like an Egyptian. Masked people downtown, be well. Josh and Jay Pohl. What is it? Everybody's in the prayer hands today. Whatever happened to the finger guns, JJ?
My finger guns going out. Grease lightning.
Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. Smell you tomorrow.
As Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. All day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man, touchdown, Wildcats. Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Kowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24 Rancho, late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's Krebs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is, a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.